Welcome to Angles of Elevation and Depression, Section 4.8 for our given pre-calculus class. Just want to go over some basic vocabulary and a few sample problems as if you were sitting in class. Some of this I bet you could go through and answer on your own, but I'll at least try and talk you through it. Okay, we're going to start it up here at the beginning. They want you to go through and underline the correct word or number to complete each sentence. Okay, so we're looking to underline. The measure of a right angle is greater or less than the measure of an acute angle. If you say greater, you are correct. And are we greater or less than an obtuse angle? That would be less. A right angle has a measure of 90 degrees. And I know it said underline, but I just circled so it's easier for you to see it on the notes. Lines that intersect to form four right angles are called perpendicular. Circle the right angles in the figure. Okay, well, I see one here at, remember both sides of that would be a right angle. So CBA would be one, and angle DBA. Okay, moving right along here. Vocabulary for you. You can pause the video and read that if you like. And then they go through and have you practice your vocabulary just a bit, practicing the word elevate, elevated, and elevation. John blank his feet on a footstool. That would be elevated. Sounds kind of nice right now. Wish I had a footstool. The something of Mount McKinley is 20,320 feet. That would be the elevation. Yep, so I could be sitting with my feet on a footstool looking at Mount McKinley. That would be fantastic. Okay, and lastly, use something and an object by raising it to a higher position. That would be elevate. And I suppose if I were sitting with my feet on a footstool, with my feet elevated, looking at Mount McKinley, it would be fantastic if I could elevate a cup of coffee while sitting there looking at the beauty. Okay, keep going. That had nothing to do with your notes. All right, first example here. Identifying angles of elevation and depression. What is a description of angle 2 as it relates to the given situation? Okay, well, let's first find angle 2, which is right here. Okay, so there is my angle. Okay, I would say something like maybe angle 2 would be an angle of elevation from the person in the hot air balloon as he is looking up to the bird. Okay, so here's our little birdie up here. Here's your angle of elevation, and there's the guy looking at it. All right, so true or false? Angle 2 is above the horizontal line. Okay, yes, that would be true. Where's the horizontal line they're talking about? If you didn't notice it, it's this one right here. Okay. Angle 2 is the angle of elevation from the person in the hot air balloon to the bird. That would be true. Angle 2 is the angle of depression. That would be false. And angle 2 is the angle of elevation from the top of the mountain to the person in the hot air balloon. That also is false. Okay. Describe angle 2 as it relates to the situation shown. I think that's probably what I commented about right here. Okay. So angle of elevation from the person in the hot air balloon to the bird that's up high. Okay. So I'm not going to take time and rewrite that. You can if you'd like. All right, first example here, angle of elevation. Okay, you can pause the video and take a minute to read the problem. Okay, welcome back if you took a minute to read the problem. So it says, use the information below to help you in your problem solving. Okay, so first of all, the angle of elevation is going to be 32 degrees. Okay, so we're looking over here. The distance to the cliff, as given, is 1,000 feet. Eye level is 6 feet above the ground. Okay, so we're talking about here, you're 6 feet above the ground. All right, we need to find the height of the climber from the ground. All right, so we want to make a plan. So it says find the length of the leg opposite of 32 by using the tangent. And I kind of ran out of room here, so I'm going to put this over here to the side. I said the tan of 32 would be x over 1,000. Okay, and so over here I want the height of the climber. So if you run that through your calculator and calculate that out, I have 624.87 feet. Then I want to add 6 because he's 6 feet above to start with. So my final answer is around 630.87 feet. Okay. All right. Then it says why. Explain why you would use tangent and not sine or cosine. Okay. Well, as I'm looking at my angle 32, I see that I have the leg opposite over the leg adjacent on my triangle, and that corresponds to the tangent for that 32-degree angle. Okay, super. All right, so then the problem is solved. Use one of the reasons from the list to justify how you answered the question. Okay, so first of all, we would write the equation. Okay. Second thing I did was solve for D. Okay, and then how did I do that? I used my calculator. Okay, so the height is a whole number is about 625 feet. Then it makes the height of that climber around 631 feet. Okay. And again, this is a little bit of repetitiveness just to help you in your problem solving skills. All right, up next, angle of depression. Okay, so an airplane pilot sights a life raft at an angle 26 degrees angle of depression. The airplane's altitude is 3 kilometers. What is the airplane's horizontal distance from the raft? Okay, so let's put this into a picture. All right, the altitude is 3. The horizontal distance, we don't know, and they suggested calling that D. So horizontal distance, D. Angle of elevation, what did they say? Sights a life raft at a 26-degree angle of depression. Okay, so angle of depression is from the horizontal down. So that's 26 degrees. That's what they're saying right here. Angle of depression. Okay, so then also in the picture they say, oh, but what's that angle in the triangle? Well, some of you may remember doing parallel lines in alternate interior angles. So if you know this angle, you know that one. Okay, and that's assuming the horizontals are parallel, right? So if the angle of depression is 26, so is this angle of elevation down here in this corner in the triangle. Okay, so then if it says, all right, which one of these would be appropriate to solve the equation? Circle the one to find the distance. So check your ratios. You're going to see it's also going to be tangent like in our previous example. All right, so then it wants us to solve. Okay, so tan 26 is 3 over D. I would tell you to multiply both sides by D. No, that didn't go work. Try again. So we'll multiply both sides by D. Okay, so then the tangent. So D times the tan 26 equals 3. Divide both sides by tan of 26. And you'll have D. Okay, I had it about 6.151, and they want us to round to the nearest tenth, so we'll say that is about 6.2 kilometers. Okay, awesome. All right, just a little bit more to go, and we'll be through a review of angle of elevation and depression. Okay, Some review questions. The angle of elevation is formed above or below a horizontal. Well, if you're elevating, it's above. Okay, angle of depression. So depression is going to be below the horizontal line. And the measure of the angle of elevation is the measure of the angle of depression. Well, that's equal to. And that goes along with the little idea I mentioned on the previous sheet. Okay, that if you have, let's see here, an angle of depression up here, angle of depression here, then it should correlate to angle of elevation. Because of alternate interior angles back from your geometry days. Alternate interior angles, because these would be parallel lines. Cool. Isn't it fun when math just all connects? All right, let's keep going here. Quick lesson check. You can pause the video and read this question. I'm going to just keep going along here. Okay, so is the angle that your friend identified as the angle of depression formed by the horizontal and the line of sight? I have no. This problem is not correct. Is the angle of depression adjacent? Okay, and this should be adjacent. Describe your friend's error. Well, he did not use the line of sight. He did not use line of sight to figure out his angles. So he made a little mistake. Okay, well, that wraps up this little guided notes. You can judge yourself here. You can check off the vocab that you understand. I sure hope you can check off angle of elevation, angle of depression, a little bit of review of some trig ratios, and how it rates yourself, how well you understand. Hopefully you're saying 10, now I get it, and you're happy, and you can go on about doing your rest of your practice problems. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoyed this little lesson on angle of elevation and angle of depression. See ya!